of the Ogun State government. My name is Omolara Agbabiaka, and I'll be taking you through this class. Today, we are going to discuss summary writing. Please follow along and pay rapt attention as we do this class. Summary. This is very important in the English language class because it is what we do that shows that we understand what we are doing. No matter how long, no matter how big, no matter how large a work is, we can always summarize it. Summary is writing down the gist or the main idea of a passage in short but exact words. What we are saying is that you can have a big work, but you can condense it, you can shorten it, you can write down just the gist. It is a condensed retelling of a longer work. Your longer work can be a book, it can be a play, it can be a poem. All you need to do is to shorten it so that the person that has not heard that story before can understand the gist of what you are saying. Summaries are meant to be short. Just like I said, the purpose is just for you to communicate the basic idea of the piece. The person who has not read that story before or who has not seen that play before will be able to have a good idea of what you are talking about just by giving the summary of that work. Viewers at home, for those that are writing WAEC, it is very important for you to pay attention to the summary writing because it carries the highest mark after the essay writing. The essay writing carries 50 marks, while the summary passage carries 30 marks. So please, it is very important that you write your summary well so that you can have a good mark. Now, what are the objectives of writing summary? Why do we write summary? First, our summary helps a student to improve his memory for what he or she has read. If you read a story, a passage, and you want to retell it to an audience, you cannot remember all the things that is written in that passage. But if you are able to understand, if you are able to retell the gist of that passage, then your memory is at work. So one of the purposes of writing a good summary is that it helps us to improve our memory. Again, the summary writing helps a student to ignore irrelevant information. In a passage, there are a lot of irrelevant information therein, some of which are just to help you to understand a point being made. Some of you are just to help you to understand an illustration. All these may be very irrelevant, but when you have a gist, you have an idea of what a passage is talking about, it will help you to be able to ignore all these irrelevancies. And finally, your summary writing helps you to be able to write in brief. It helps you to be able to write in brief. And while you write in brief, you also have to go straight to the point. So these are objectives of writing a summary. Now, we want to go to how we can write a good summary. What are the tips that can help us to write a good summary? The first thing we have to do in writing a good summary is to identify the topic sentence. Identify the topic sentence. The topic sentence in a passage is that key or that important point in a passage. For every passage that we have, there is always a topic sentence. All the sentences you have in that passage are called developmental sentences. These developmental sentences are just there to help you to develop, to illustrate, to explain the topic sentence in a sentence. So the first thing you need to do is to first identify your topic sentence. So we move on to the tips of writing a good summary. What do we need to do to write a good summary? The first thing we have to do is to be able to identify the topic sentence. For every written work, for every passage, there is a topic sentence. The topic sentence is that key or that important point in a passage that we need to identify. In a passage, there are other sentences apart from the topic sentence. All these other sentences are what we call developmental sentences. The developmental sentence in a passage are those sentences that are there to just help us to develop, to illustrate, to amplify, or to explain the topic sentence. So what we are saying in other words is that the topic sentence is like a signpost for a passage, for the reader to understand. So when you see it, you know that this is where this passage is heading towards. So the next tip for writing a summary is that you should not copy your answers word for word from the passage. When you copy word for word, you are, in other words, mindlessly lifting an answer for an examiner. For WAEC, such an error will cost you 0 mark. Because when you lift your word from the passage mindlessly, you are, in other words, saying that this is where the answer is, please pick it. We don't want to do that. Let me give you an example of what a mindless lifting can be. Let us assume that for a question you have an answer that says, every now and then, as if with the ticks of the clock, she spewed out saliva. That is your answer. And you have seen it in the passage, that this is where the answer is. And that is how it is written in the passage. If you want to answer this, answer this sentence, and you want to write it in summary, you can say, she spat saliva always. Now look at, we have removed a lot of things from the sentence. Every now and then, as if with the ticks of the clock, they are gone. But the point is still there. Our point is still there. She spat saliva always. We have only put always in every now and then. We have represented always with every now and then. So you can say that, or you can just say, she spewed out saliva always. That is short and brief, isn't it? It is. It is so straight to the point. Rather than picking every now and then as if with the ticks of the clock, she spewed out saliva. If you do that, you are mindlessly lifting, and that will not be too good. Next, in writing a good summary, you need to write your answers in complete sentences. Incomplete sentences. Your sentence must be brief and it must go straight to the point. When we write incomplete sentences, it will help our answers to be brief. Let me give you another example. Assuming you are given a question like, why did they go there? Why did they go there? Your answer will be something like, they went there because they needed money. It is so brief and short. Or you can say, they needed money. You have just gone straight to the point. But what if you say, because they needed money? Because they needed money. That will not be a complete sentence. And in writing a summary passage, you need a complete sentence. Why is this not a complete sentence? Because there is a conjunction. Just like words like since, for, but, that, and so on and so forth. These conjunctions, and when you use them to answer your questions, you are not making a complete sentence. Next, always use a word or short expression to replace a group of words or long expressions. When you do this, you have to be very careful so that you will not use unnecessary words. Let me give you another example. For example, you say every now and then. Can you use always rather than saying every now and then? Always is just one word. You can use it to represent a longer expression. Or look at this expression. I ensure that I walk round the clock and relentlessly like a bee. Can you just say, I walk a lot? I walk a lot. Or you can say, I walk diligently. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers at home, at this point, let us go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the tips of writing a good summary.
Hello? It's me again, just catching up on these sustainable development goals. There's a lot you can do to help get the goals done if you get creative, but getting started can be hard. Especially when the problems seem very, very big from where you are standing. I'm here to give you a small push. The best place to start is right where you are, with the person you know best, you. A lot of things you do in your life have an effect on the goals. Even one little change will make a difference. And who knows, you might even start something that begins to change the whole world. So how do you decide what to do? First, take some time and ask yourself some questions like, what are you like as a person? What do you care about? What's really important to you? Start a list and think about what you could change in your life that might help improve it. Maybe you love the beach or having clean water for you and your friends to swim in. So if you decide to stop using plastic bottles, plastic straws, or plastic bags, you will stop them ending up in the sea when you throw them away. Or maybe you care about getting a good education in a school that feels safe. So if you make sure you treat everyone with kindness and respect their rights, everyone will feel happy and ready to learn. Or maybe you are thinking about the environment, and so you start eating less meat each week, if you eat meat at all, that is. Or maybe it is something completely different. Work out what it could be. Don't forget to tell others what you're going to do, and maybe they'll also do the same. Suddenly, it's a movement. Then go out into your community with the sustainable development goals in mind and discover how it could be better. Find out by looking around you. Ask people what they think. Talk to lots of different people so you get different kinds of answers. Ask everybody. Sometimes the very quiet people have the best ideas. You could work with friends or family because sometimes some things are hard to do alone. Maybe your street or field could do with a cleanup. Could you get some friends together to fix it? Maybe there are people where you live who are hungry. Could you organize a food drive? Maybe there are places you and your friends don't go to because you don't feel safe. How could you work together to change that? Or it could be something different. Do your research, find out, and make it work. Imagine what it would be like when it's working. Work with the ends in mind and imagine all the changes that are needed. Maybe some things will work and some won't, but it's good to keep trying. Once you've achieved something locally, you will feel confident about thinking even bigger. The people in charge of running your country have so many decisions to make, so it's important you don't let them forget about the goals. If you show them how much you care, they will work harder to make them happen. Whether it's the environment, health, schools, or almost any issue you are passionate about, there is a goal and someone in the government who should take care of it. And don't forget businesses either. Ask them what they're doing. Tell them what you're doing. Maybe you can work together. And don't stop there. There's the whole world to think about. Let the United Nations know that you care about the goal. It will help them to get all the countries in the world to work better together. The best way to make sure they pay attention is if you tell them how you started and share what you and your friends have achieved. You'll be giving them a real life story to tell, and stories can be really convincing. Now you know what you need to do to help. Take a deep breath, do it, and show how much you care. I'm just saying.
Welcome back. We are on tips for us to be able to write a good summary. Now, let us go on to the number 5 tip that will help us to write a good summary. You should avoid lumping 2 points in the same sentence. Each sentence should have only 1 point. In WAEC questions, most times, the question usually asks like this. In 2 sentences, 1 for each. Identify or summarize or enumerate or state. The point there you should note is that you are to tell us in a specific number of sentences. For example, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, 4 sentences. But 1 point for each sentence. So please, avoid lumping 2 points in the same sentence. Let me give you an example. If you are asked to give 2 points, for example, the question is, in 2 sentences, state the excessive use of the internet, the effect of the excessive use of the internet on children. Your answer may be something like this. Excessive use of the internet exposes children to bad habits. 2. Excessive use of the internet destroys relationship. Those are your 2 points. But never write excessive use of the internet exposes children to bad habits and destroys relationship. Now look at this answer. You have 2 points here, but you have lumped them into 1 sentence. Avoid doing that in summary writing. Make sure that each sentence have only 1 point. And finally, do not write more than the required number of sentences. At this point, most times, you may think that you have an idea of what the passage is talking about, and you have your own opinion. Please be careful. Do not write your own opinion when you are not asked. Write only the required number of sentences. Let us look at this example. 2. The question is, in 2 sentences, state the effect of the excessive use of the internet. We expect an answer like this. 1. Excessive use of the internet exposes children to bad habits. 2. Excessive use of the internet destroys relationship. But what if you go ahead to have a 3rd answer, like excessive use of the internet consumes time? It is true that the excessive use of the internet consumes time, but were you asked? So please, limit your answers to only the required number that you are asked. Don't go more than the required number. So with these 6 tips, now you will be able to write a good summary. Now, what can help you what are the steps that you can take when you are writing a summary? There are steps that can help you to write a good summary. We have about 6 of them here, so we'll take them one by one. 1, the first thing you have to do is to read the passage fast for the first time. Whenever you get a question and you see the passage, please read the passage fast for the first time. That's the first thing you will do. Then you go ahead to read the passage at a much slower pace the second time. When you do this, you should pay more attention to the points that are being discussed in the passage. Remember, first, read the passage fast. Second, read the passage at a much slower pace. And you should pay more attention to the points that are discussed. Then you can read the questions. Read the questions that are set on the passage. Then you go ahead to read the passage again. After reading the question, read the passage again and underline the relevant topic sentence therein. Remember, I said, always identify your topic sentence. They are like signposts that help you to know what a passage is talking about. So, when you read the passage again after reading the question, try to identify the relevant topic sentence in the passage. Then you can then write your answers. But please, because it is a summary passage, write your answers in short, complete, and meaningful sentence. Make the sentence short, make it meaningful, and let it be a complete sentence. When you have done this, you can finally read over your answers. Make sure you do not have any errors, and you will be good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. By the time you go through these summary tips and steps, you will see that it will be very easy to write a good summary passage. For your assignment, I want you to pick any of the WAEC questions on summary passage. Answer it and send your answers to our website on www.ogundidiclass.ng. Thank you again. I'll see you next time.